Good morning, everyone. The stream will start soon. Good morning, everyone. I am Ritu Shinde, core team member of Revolution Software Development Club. I welcome you all to the second session of Ignite Web series on natural language processing. Natural language processing, or NLP, makes it possible for computers to read text, hear speech, and interpret it. It is in high demand in various industries, whether it be healthcare, finance, or law. NLP is used everywhere. So we hope that this session will be helpful for you guys. So without any further ado, let me invite today's speaker, Mr. Harsha Vardhan. He is a student researcher at Amrita Vishwa Vidyapitam and is currently a software engineer at Microsoft. He also runs a community called Right Now, where he shares his experience as a software engineer, tutorials on different tools and frameworks, and much more. Subscribe to his channel. The link is given in the description box. He also has a Discord server for the same. The link to that is also given in the description. We are very excited for today's session, sir. Over to you.
Welcome for that warm welcome. Thank you for that warm welcome. And today we'll be discussing about natural language processing, what, why, and how. So these are the three questions that I want you to leave with answers. Like at the end of this session, you should be probably be able to answer to these three questions. So first of all, who am I? So as already it's been the speaker has been introduced to you before, but still, in short, I am working as a software development engineer. And why you choose this topic is that during my internship, I worked on an LP in Microsoft. So and I understood the practical implications of it, and I just want to share this knowledge with all of you. So today's agenda will look roughly like this. So I'll be sharing my interview experience, and then we'll talk about NLP, and we'll open the stage for questions from our audience. So let me talk about my entry to Microsoft. It was in at the end of my third year, wherein there was this all India wide challenge called as Tech Set Go, and which I have registered myself for. And there was an online round which consists of DSA questions, and then I was selected for on-site interviews. I have been flew to Chennai for an interview purpose, and then over there we had a pen and paper round. Again, there also we had three DSA questions where you have to write down the actual code and not the pseudocode. And also along with that, there were predict the errors and predict the output kind of questions. Once that is done, I have been shortlisted for interviews, and there are three rounds of interviews. All three are mostly technical. Just a part of one interview just had one behavioral question, but other than that, it is totally technical, and they concentrate majorly on DSA alone. So as I have just seen the glimpses of the previous session by Kushbu, and she has beautifully explained how the process stands for Google. It's almost the same for Microsoft as well, except that there you have telephonic interviews. Here you have that online round, and then you have this on-site interviews. So and then there were three rounds of interview, and then there was an internship offer letter for 2 months. And at the end of 2 months, they were told me that I was given a replacement offer from Microsoft. So once after that, there was an optional 6 months internship, and after that, right now it's been like 6 months at Microsoft right now. So I am a graduate of 2020 pass out batch. So that's my journey to Microsoft. I think there'll be more question on this, and we'll handle it at the end. So let us understand what is it of language processing, natural language processing. So it's first you have to understand that it's not a science exactly. So for example, if you see in biology, if you see that how cells work, or understanding how the nature works, that is science. I'm just giving an example. But applied science is such that the application of that knowledge you acquired from science, right? So NLP is such a field. It's an applied science and it's not a normal science. And it's an engineering discipline that combines the power of artificial intelligence, computational linguistics, and computer science to understand the natural language. So, and also one more thing, many people think that machine learning and deep learning are NLP, but you should rephrase that as machine learning and deep learning can be used in NLP, but they are not, the superset of it or something. There are so many other problems which can be solved using machine learning and deep learning, and which doesn't come under the umbrella of natural language processing. So this is one. Just I want to just share this with you. So natural language processing. This is what NLP is, right? So it has two parts in it. So first one is natural language, which is the language that me and you talk if we are meeting in person, right? So that is the natural language, and the second part is processing. So natural and processing. So how are you processing the natural language that one or two, like like a normal conversation, and how is it possible, and exploring different technology, like different methods in it, is all about natural language processing. And it's just not complete over there. This is quote unquote, if you see that it is this is what has been said in a paper, research paper. It is hard from the standpoint of the child who must spend many years acquiring a language. It is hard for adult learner. It is hard for a scientist who attempts to model the relevant phenomena, and it is hard for the engineer who attempts to build system that will deal with natural language input or output. So basically, what everywhere it is saying is that it is not easy, because for a child it takes years to learn a language, and for a adult it still takes a lot of time to acquire a new language. And even if it's for scientists and for engineer also, it is very hard to mimic that natural scenario using computers. These tasks are so hard that Turing could rightly make fluent conversation. So if you see over here, if you okay, one yeah, if you see over here, a fluent conversation is bolded because that is a test that's called as a Turing test, wherein a man will be asked to converse with a machine, and he should be able to predict, like if it's so fluent that he should be convinced that it is a human talking on the other side. So that is the test for intelligence that Turing has proposed, and it's been widely used. The next part of the question is, why do we need it? So because there are a lot of multiple applications in the field of computer science regarding NLP. Just to mention a few, these are few things which are sentiment analysis, saying that say for example, if you were given a review on Play Store, although stars stand as something, but still they, if they want to go deeper and understand the sentiment of their customers, they use sentiment analysis, which will tell you how good the review is, how bad the review, or even they can extract the entities saying that this part of the app is not liked by the customers. So it's not possible manually to go to every review and pick them up. So they use NLP procedures for it. And they also use chatbots. You see that Amazon uses a lot of them in their customer care services. Um, Even if you, for example, who knows, tomorrow the revolutionary software club may come up with a chatbot which will keep you up to date and solve your queries about upcoming webinars. So all these, if handled by a human, can take up a lot of resources and time, and there could be errors. But then if you program a chatbot with proper rules, say for example, like if it's just an question and answer, rules are also enough, but you can't extensively use rules for everything in chatbot. So that is where NLP comes to help. So also customer service real time feedback, saying that as in when the customer is talking to the executive, I mean the customer care executive, then an NLP can analyze what's the issue with the customer, and how is his voice is, and so it can suggest that that the customer is not so happy and all that. So it can give real time feedbacks, which helps in the customer care executive to make the experience of the customer even more better. And also to target audience, even for advertisement also, say for example, you have opened a blog which talks about NLP. So there could be an ad of Lewis, which is by Microsoft, or maybe Bird by Google, or something, or something related to NLP. Ads might pop up. So how is that possible? Again, NLP comes to rescue, and it says that this person is trying to search for this, and this could be the relevant ads. Probably that could be a parameter for Google Ads. So these are three things. And how to do it, we will see a small demo out of it. But before that, let me just share with you some standard pre-processing that is required. So these are three on a high level. These three are the standard pre-processing you do on an NLP model. One is the tokenization. So tokenization is nothing but just cutting the entire text or corpus. You call it as a corpus. You cut them into pieces, and each thing is called as a token. So that is tokenization. And then normalization, wherein you remove all. Yeah, normalization is somewhere where you optimize your model for that. Otherwise, you remove the punctuation marks. You remove the probably lemmatization can come in this, which is basically routing, like replacing the original word. Say for example, you are saying feeding, so instead of feeding you can replace it with feed, because for machine it doesn't make much of a difference between feeding and feed. So such kind of technique can be used. And noise removal, wherein like if there are any extra spaces, they can be removed. There are a lot of things, like you can remove extra white spaces. You can convert everything into ASCII characters. You can expand expand if there are any shortcuts, like you can expand them. You can remove special characters if you're not if those are not needed, and you can lowercase all the text. If it's capitals and smalls, machine might not understand, right? So for pre-processing, for better training capability, you can lowercase all the text. So that is one way. And then converting numbers to numeric form, removing numbers at all, and then removing stop words like un, but, we, are. All these are stop words which doesn't make much of a sense in the sentence. So if I'm saying that we are having a session on NLP, so here you can just remove trip of all the stop words, and it could just have it like session and NLP as the keywords. The machine can understand using these two keywords. And when are we having? So that's a when question. Who is going to have it? So who is a question? So those phrases can be used for that. And coming to the learning path for an NLP, also it is not available, like it's not possible to go through each and everything which is in NLP. I will just share you with this um, link. Let me open that link. Yeah. So this is that link wherein it will talk you about how in 2020 you can learn about NLP. This is a wonderful resource that I just found recently. And if you see that, they clearly says what to do in zero, the the month zero. And over there you have Python for data science, Python cheat sheets, descriptive statistics. All the links are given. Probably I'll share this link with all of you. You can just Google it out, saying that Learning Path 2020 Analytics Vidya. It's an amazing website. So here they give you all that. So then you can learn about linear regression, logistic regression, decision trees, k-fold cross validation. I'll talk about validation scenarios in a bit. SVD, and then month zero is over. So then you will get the basic tools about how to use Python for NLP, and the various techniques which you use to validate your model. And once you try to learn about linear and logistic, you will understand the basics of machine learning as well. So getting comfortable with text data, so you can understand how to read and write with pandas. Pandas is a library for that. And then basics of regular expression. Regular expressions are something which you can use to filter out words. Like you give out a pattern saying that any word matching with this pattern, please give me out. So then the system can take that input, and it can filter out based on your criteria. Speech and language processing, that's a course from Stanford. And then these are some libraries which I just told you, right? Removing the extra spaces, converting tall to lower, removing stop words. All those can be done using this spacey library. NLTK is a wonderful library. If you want to start with an NLP, NLTK is, you should go and check it out. And then stop word removal, text normalization. Here are some resources for that. And then how will you do exploratory analysis, and then extracting meta features, basically features from data, and then they are also giving you to some, and that is month one. And then month two is computational linguistic and word vectors. We will see an example about word vectors shortly. And so basically this is a wonderful collation of all the resources which you can follow. I won't go through each and every one of it because you can go it yourself, because everything is free over here. And they even suggested a time for you, like how much you have to spend per week. So using that, in the end you will be able to even deploy something which is of your interest. So that is a learning path which I would suggest for you guys. And now let us take a case study and understand how it works. So that will leave you with more clarity. So say, for example, now I have a job description and a resume. Okay. So now this is a resume scoring scenario. I want to score a resume that how much the person is eligible for that job. Say, for example, you are going to Microsoft careers.microsoft.com and you are uploading your resume for a job. So now Microsoft might not be able to go through each and every resume and might use some. I'm not saying exactly this is being used. This is just a scenario I'm talking. Be it Microsoft, be it Google, they generally have their own mechanisms to filter out resumes. So this is one such scenario. We'll just go through this. So entity, you can use the Stanford NER Spacey for that. This is an example for it. And basically, you are extracting the entities from your job description and resume. So basically, if you take it this way, you will say that I have a very good knowledge in React. So that's your statement in your resume, or you say that I built my portfolio website using React. So React is a thing over there. Like React is a technology. Uh, so this Stanford NES space you can filter out such entities. So entities are basically such keywords in your resume. So it will take out all those keywords which are present on your resume and that are present in job description. If it says that in job description, if it says that persons with a deep knowledge in UI are preferred, so then UI will be picked. So such kind of um, so such are the uses for it. So once you go, this is entity extraction, like extraction, wherein you can extract such meaningful entities from the text which is there on your resume or job description. So once you have got that, you'll have uh, in job description you will have what are the things that are required, what are the skills that are required for your resume, like for that job experience, how much is required. In many job descriptions there are this saying that 5+ years of experience needed, like that. So it will predict that 5+ is needed. So that is one way of doing it, and then it will extract all the skills which I just told, like UI, React, Angular, Bootstrap, anything for that example, whichever is there in job description. And in resume, if you are specifying like I have 5+ years of experience in so and so, or I have worked from 2016 to 2020 in this company. So using all that, you can extract this experience of the candidate, and you'll have experience extracted from resume and skills extracted from your resume, and the skills required in the job description and the experience required in the job description. Once it is done, these two extracted skills can have a word to vec model. So basically this experience required and extracted, if the extracted is less than required, you can give it a very low priority. Otherwise you can pass it to the next layer, which is like extracting similar skills. So skills can be like, if it's UI, React and UI are not exact same skill. So what we are doing is we are extracting similar skills for UI as well. So UI may you will get Angular, React, Flutter, a lot of other technologies. So that will be extracted. So basically, you have a corpus trained for it. I'll show you that also. And then these are the different skills extracted, which are similar to the skills mentioned in the job description. And these are the set of skills extracted from the skills mentioned in your resume. Now these two are two different vectors. So now we will see using word to vec model, you can extract these similar skills. And then we will see, we'll take, okay, I have just mentioned it as Azure search, but you can even use cosine similarity or anything for that matter to compare two different skills. And basically this will be represented as a vector and this will be represented as another vector. And then you can use Azure search or cosine similarity just to see how close these two are. So that's how your recommendation system works, and it will take care of these two as well. And you'll get the recommendation saying that these are the resumes you can shortlist for on-site interviews, or if it's in case of Google, maybe for telephonic interviews like that. This is not exactly implemented at some company. This is just a case study that I took for reference. And also, here are some metrics. This is called as confusion matrix, saying that these are the number of candidates. So first, let us go to this. It's like positive, negative, and these are actual values and these are predicted values. So once you are doing it on a trained data, you will have your system detected positive, your system detected negative, and the result. When you're training, you also know the result, right? In that, how many are positive and how many are negative. So what it means is that positive and positive are called as true positive, positive and negative are called as false positive, because it is supposed to be negative, but it is the system has detected it as positive. And similarly, it's false negative and true negative. So what you have to try is you should make your model such that or you should optimize it in such a, or train it in such a way that these two corners of this matrix are more in number and these two are less in number. Because if it's positive and your system is detecting as positive, it's good. If it's negative and your system is also detecting as negative, it's also good. But these two are not good because it's happening the other way. If it's negative, it's detecting as positive. If it's positive, it is detecting as negative. So this is this is called as confusion matrix, and this is some sample confusion matrix that I gave for example. Apart from that, using those four parameters, there are a lot of validation measures which you can use, and it's out of scope to explain each one of it, but you can understand by seeing the formula itself that if see if you have for example TP by TP plus FN, which is like true positive by true positive plus false negative. So in the numerator it is TP, right? So if this sensitivity is closer to one, then it means that the model is better. So such that in such a way, these are all different metrics for you to understand how good is your model. And we have come to how to deploy it. So once you are done with your project, you generally want to deploy it somewhere so that you can use it in your project. And this is where many people struggle, I guess, because they know that how to run it locally, but to deploy, but it's very simple, to be honest. You just need to know the simplest route, make it consumable as a Flask API. So once you run the Flask API, you can start uh, getting the model. So I'll also show you how you can save a model. Once it's trained, you don't have to retrain every time, right? So once it's trained, you can save it as a pickle file. It's called as pickle file, and then you can load it directly once someone calls, and then you can use that model. So you can just make it consumable as a Flask API and then create a Docker app on it, so that on starting of that Docker application, this Flask API is triggered. And then you can deploy it to a service like App Service in Azure, or there could be similar alternatives elsewhere as well. But this is the simplest route. You can just make it as a Flask API, create a Docker app for it, and then you can deploy it to a service. And let me just go through a small where is that? Yeah. So this is a small demo of word vectors. So if you see that these are using word to vec, these are three all different types of word embeddings. Actually, this is not something which is done by me. It's a GitHub repository available online, and it has this wonderful collation of all different types of word vectors, and doc to vec is also there. So I'm just going with the word to vec, and this is the source code for it. So let me run it and show to you. So these are some imports which are required, and then it is taking the Hamlet text file. So this is the corpus. Corpus is basically a set of text. That's it. And then this is some metrics to it, and then it is trying to show you what are the sentences inside it, and then you have to pre-process, right? So once I have told you, like it's converting everything to lower, and now you can see that the sentences have converted from capital to small, all smalls. And after that, we are trying to train a model. This is very simple because word to vec is readily available. You just have to specify these parameters, and then it will be able to do it. Yeah, so it has been trained, and then in its limbs, it's for normalizing it so that it will use lesser space. And this is what I was saying, like you can save your model and you can load it back in, and you can use it. So once you save it, so basically what it does is it creates this file for you. Say for example, I'm deleting this file, and I'm running this thing called as modal.save. So it'll create a modal and you can save it in your directory and you can load it directly in your Flask API. So that is what it is doing. Assume that nothing till here has been run. So even over here, just the import statements have been run, and then you can directly load this model. So you can skip this process of training a word to vec model. You can save some time there. And then understanding similarities. So if you say king, it will say that queen, out time. These are all the similarities based on the text given in that hamlet that you have to understand. So if I'm just trying to see what is the similarity between king and queen, it says that 0.99. And this is a very one famous example in any NLP tutorial, which is like king minus man plus woman. So it's basically saying that now what happened is that every word is given it's been embedded in a n-dimensional vector space, and from there you can find using cosine similarity. So that is where maths comes into picture. That's why in that learning path it has been told to go through a lot of maths related topics as well. So it's king minus man plus woman. So it's saying that king is there. If it's not a man and if it's a woman, what do you call that person as? And then once you run it, it says that it's queen with a probability of 0.99. So these are just one possible example. You can the limits are there are no limits basically. So it depends on how much you have used it. Just to give you some examples, you can check out Lewis from Microsoft, and you can also check out Bert from Google. Now GPT from OpenAI as well. So these are such projects which try to make more advances in the field of NLP. But Lewis and Bert, actually I worked with Lewis, that's why I know more about it. So there you can have you can easily develop your applications using NLP and be chatbots. So you can check it out. And yep, that's the simplest route, and that's the demo, and the stage is open for questions.
Let's take a break of 5 minutes, and during this, let me invite Karan Jagtiani. He is the president of Revolution Software Development Club. He will talk about our club and what we do. Good afternoon, Karan. Over to you.
Thank you, Ritu. So, good morning, everyone. I hope you are enjoying the session so far. And actually, the best part is yet to come, the question and answer session. So, where you can ask any doubt you have regarding today's session or anything you want to ask Harsha sir, whether it be about his interview experience at Microsoft or anything else that you would like to ask. So the form for asking the questions is given in the description box below, as well as it is shared in the live chat. So about our club, the Revolution Software Development Club. So what do we do? We conduct sessions like this regularly, where you get to know the first-hand experience from industry professionals, as well as technical workshops on topics like JavaScript or the Angular framework. And we plan on conducting more technical workshops in the future. So you can find all of these sessions on this channel itself. So definitely, I would recommend you to subscribe to this channel and turn on post notifications if you are interested in this type of stuff and you want to stay updated on sessions like this. So yeah, definitely subscribe to our channel. And also we post daily content on social media, like trending news about technology, cheat sheet on particular technologies, memes, and much more. You will get the complete package in order to be aware about everything that is required to be a good software engineer. So I would suggest you to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for this type of content. The links are given down in the description box. And on LinkedIn we post different type of content. So over there we post interview preparation questions, and as well as questions which are asked in the gate exam. So if you are preparing for the gate exam, or if you have any interview coming up, let's say in a few months, or you have a lot of time, So that that platform is a very good place to start, and we would recommend you to follow us because we cover major topics like data structures and algorithms, operating system, and computer networking, as well as other topics. So if you want to solve small questions daily, it's not much, but it will definitely help you in the long run. So definitely follow us on LinkedIn. You guys following us and showing us your support will not only help you, but it also helps us. It keeps us motivated for doing this type of stuff for you guys. So please do follow us on social media. So this was it from my side. I hope everyone is ready for the question and answer session. So yes, thank you.
Thank you, Karan. Let's start the question and answer session. Please feel free to ask your questions in the Google form that we have provided in the description box and also on the WhatsApp group. So it looks like we already have a few questions. The first question is from Ankita. She asked, how does one make a Docker app?
Okay. So, so basically, Docker is something which you. Okay, let me tell you what Docker exactly is. So, say for example, you have developed an application in yourself, and you are trying to deploy it. So, how would you normally deploy it? So, generally, there are multiple services available for various cloud applications, and you just go ahead, spin up a VM or something. You not exactly a VM, but you can spin up an app service, and then you can publish your code over there, and you can create a pipeline, and that's a topic for another day. But then when it comes to Python or something like this, there are very specific libraries which you want to install, and you basically don't want to mess up with any configurations. So what you do is that a Docker is basically, it will tell you what all the things you need to install in your machine. So basically it'll help you in replicating your own desktop somewhere in the cloud. Okay, so over there you will have a docker file. Over there you will docker file is the file which will be used to build a Docker application, which you can also look more about it. But then docker file will basically help you to initiate, like install a operating system from right from there. It can, you can use Linux, and then you can say that import, these are the files which I want you get imported, and then you can start writing some scripts. So basically this is the normal flow. You open a Docker app, you install an operating system, and then you will have a requirements.txt file, which will have all the libraries which you want to be installed in that machine on cloud. So you will run a command for installing all that, and then you will copy whatever the code you want on that machine. So you'll copy from your local machine to that Docker image, and then you will run that. So Docker build, that's a command for that. So once it is done, it will create a Docker. Yeah, so basically, you can use this to deploy it to an app service. So that's how it works.
Thank you, sir. I hope that answers your question, Ankita. So the next question is from Kavya. She asked, which is better for NLP, Flask or Python?
Flask or Python?
Yeah, Flask or Python.
So basically, Flask uses Python. Flask is just a framework on based on Python. It's not like Flask is a different language or something, but it will provide you the needed infrastructure for you to run the code based on API hits. So APIs, if you want to say that this, if this route is hit, go ahead and trigger this. So when you want such kind of architecture, you use Flask. That's Flask. So basically, Flask allows you to modularize your code, and then you will have APIs like routes basically, and whenever some route has been hit, you can trigger a part of code in your program. So those are not two different languages. Flask is based on Python.
All right. So the next question is from Varun. He wants to ask about the interview experience at Microsoft and how you prepared for it.
Yeah, interview experience, as I just shared that there were one online round, and then one on-site pen and paper round, and 3 rounds of interviews. So how I prepared for it, it is mostly using CodeChef and HackerRank. And I was lately introduced to Code Process and Lead Code, but then the even I don't think that if you're not into that, it's not too late to start with them as well. And then I was mostly using CodeChef and HackerRank as this, and the long cookup challenges at CodeChef are very good, and they're a good place to start. And once that is done, I go with Geeks for Geeks and apply and see the previous year questions of that company, and I try to solve them in Geek for Geeks practice. Before actually seeing the question, you're not supposed to see the solution unless you try it. So that is one feedback I give to a lot of them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And there are previous year questions as well in Geeks for Geeks. Go ahead and practice them before your interview comes up, and you should be good to go. And most importantly, be strong with your basics. Don't be flown away by more advanced ones. You should have your roots strong. Only then you can build it up.
Okay. So the next question is from Darpan. And Darpan wants to know how to tokenize a sentence using the NLTK package.
Okay, NLDK package you can. I just shared with you, right? Okay, I guess I wasn't clear with that. So basically, tokenizing is nothing but cutting down your sentences into tokens. So basically, token is nothing but a single word you can say to be even more simpler. But there are multiple libraries for you to help with that. So you can just use tokenization using spacing library. This is the link which they have provided. It's a wonderful resource.
I hope your doubt is
Yes.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
your doubt is cleared, Darpan. So the next one is from Vaibhav, and he also asked about the NLTK package. He asked that can we use NLTK package to make assistants like Alexa or Siri?
NLTK is not for that. NLTK is a library for you to make all the pre-processing or your job easier. It is not exactly to develop applications, but it is you to use. If you say it's a library for you to do pre-processing, mostly that is the case. And then on top of it, using word to vec, using dot to vec, or you would just want to create a set of rules that is up to you, and you have to program it for that. If you don't want to write a program at all, then you can go to Lewis, which is from Microsoft. And yeah, okay, I'm not sharing my screen actually. Okay. So you can create an application without even writing a single line of code, and you can even deploy it to an Azure App Service. So NLTK is not a library where you can create an application directly, but NLTK is a library for you to get your things right and to clean your data basically. Using this Lewis.ai, you can go ahead and if you have free credits, you can even try it out. Uh, it's for creating chatbots like Alexa and Google Assistant, which you are talking about.
So we have
Go
one
ahead.
more interesting question from Riju. Riju wants to know the process to integrate a NLP model in a Django app to predict handwritten documents.
To predict handwritten documents. Then again, you can use. There are multiple handwritten like digit recognizers, and then if you want, you can take it from TensorFlow. Also, you can just clone it and you can use that as well. And as I told you that you can save your model as an pickle file. So you just have to pickle file. You have to load it into. You have to save it as a pickle file and then load it back in your Django app, and then you can use that model just as a normal any other program.
So the next question is from Shruti. Shruti is asking what advice would you give to a person who has just started or is planning to start learning NLP?
Yeah. Basically, if you're just starting, just go ahead and stick with the learning path which I just shared using analytics with you. So that is a wonderful way to start with it. But get your things right and you understand why NLP works. Just don't be, I use this package and it worked magically. So don't be that. Then you will not be able to write effective models and you'll not be able to optimize it correctly. So go ahead and learn the maths behind it, learn the maths, how it works. Just don't be too much dependent upon libraries. Understand what the library does, and then you should be good to go.
I hope that answers your question, Shruti. So the next one is from Rahul, and Rahul is asking which topics you would say we should learn to focus on. Which topics you should. Sorry. Rahul is asking which topics you would say we should learn to focus for getting placed in companies like Microsoft.
Obviously, one thing is DSA, there is nothing more than that. But then, if it's coming to technologies, learning technologies, anything which will help you to protect, like project your skills. So basically, if you are interested in making some innovative applications, go ahead and learn some technology. If it's on web development, you can start with React, and you can maybe for backend you can use Node.js. And if it's about making app, maybe you can start with React Native. Otherwise, you just not just normal Android application, or you know you just try to understand what are the different. So what exactly you are learning doesn't matter a lot, because these frameworks keeps changing as and when it keeps going as the time passes. So what they majorly focus upon is the ability to learn. They'll hire you for the ability to learn, and not actually what you have already learned. So they are sure that if you have that ability to learn, it wouldn't take much time for you to wrap up, like to pace up on in any technology. So if you are and these whatever I'm saying, like React or Angular or Android, React Native, anything. So these are only to showcase your talent, because even if you can say that I'm very good at solving problems, I'm very good at DSJ. For that you can show your ratings on different platforms. That is fine. But then if you are saying that I am very good at even solving real life problems, then they need to have some proof for that, right? They can just not trust everyone who says that. So just to showcase your talent, it is good to know, and at least a single framework you can be strong with, and then you can create apps with it, and then you can deploy them on GitHub pages on Heroku, and then you can share those links on your resume.
Yes, sir, definitely. So we have one more question from Madhav. He is asking, is it necessary to learn maths for NLP, or can I only rely on Python packages?
See, you can rely on Python packages if you want to develop something in the next 1 month or something. But then, unless you know what exactly it is doing, so these are two different things. If you are going more into research and how you want to develop it even more, you have to go to maths, and only then you can improve the existing models. Or if you just want to use the existing models and you don't want to have to improve or anything. So, say for example, if you just want to create an app which will scan an image and tell what is written on it or something, there are already wonderful packages for it. You just have to use them, and you can obviously rely them on the libraries itself. But it's always good to know what the library actually does at the back of it. Otherwise you'll be all confused, and you might not even know if that is the correct library to use.
I hope that answers your question, Madhav. So the next question is from Riddhi. And Riddhi wants to know about the difficulties that you faced when you were applying for this job.
There was the difficulty that doesn't the process is so seamless, so there is not much of it difficulty. But then definitely you have to prepare a lot before going and giving a shot at it. So you can't just blindly go ahead and try your luck, because it's not a single round of interview. There are multiple rounds of interview, and the 3 interviews that I had is not an absolute number. So some might even have 4, and one of my friend has just 2 interviews. So that's a variable number. And you have to keep on continuously understand how in what level the Microsoft answers, like ask questions. And that is only possible by going through a lot of interview experiences on Geeks for Geeks, and also solving those questions that they have mentioned it. So the difficulty only lies in you preparing for it. But other than that, there is not nothing much of hassle. Like with Except Go, it is all because it's a nationwide program. It doesn't discriminate which college you're coming from, or it doesn't care about that. Basically, if you are doing good with coding, and you have impressive resume, and with your projects are good, then they're happy to have you.
So the next question is from Darpan, and Darpan is a 2020 pass out. Darpan
Gotcha.
is asking whether the pandemic has affected internships and interviews. If yes, how one should deal with it.
Pandemic has directly so if you see that Microsoft or Amazon, these are some companies which are not very much luckily, fingers crossed, but then touch wood, but then they're not very much affected because of pandemic, because they have these Azure services, or Amazon has their AWS, which are actually booming because of this work from home scenario. And because of that, their stocks are rising, and they are in a good position to hire even more people. But then definitely this pandemic even though it has allowed them to hire more, they might not be hiring in an extent how they were hiring it previously. But then once this pandemic comes to an end and we are all back to normalcy, then I guess it should be again back in full thing, and you don't have to deal separately with it. If you have talent, if you are a deserving candidate, then there is no fear for you. Just try to upskill yourself and you should be good to go.
Yes,
I
sir,
also
definitely.
recommend going with the 20:10 ratio, wherein per month you can learn a technology easily. Go ahead and start with, for 20 days you can just start learning a technology, and the last 10 days you can try implementing a small project on that, which you can showcase in your resume or your portfolio website.
Yes, sir, definitely. So I hope that answers your question, Darpan. The next one is from Priya. Priya is asking, can you talk about the current project that you are working on at Microsoft?
I can't talk about that, but I
Yes, it's
that's an issue.
understandable. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So the next one is from Aditya. Aditya wants to know which software do you prefer for NLP and which one is more user friendly?
Which software?
Yeah, which software?
Oh, okay. You might. Okay. Which one should I use? So basically, what you mean is that I prefer Lewis because that is something which I am very much comfortable with it. So basically, if you use Lewis.ai, so you have to log in with your Microsoft account, and Microsoft account in the sense like any Outlook account. And if you have a student subscription, they'll give you some free credits, and it's very much user friendly. All you have to do is, say for example, if you are building a chatbot for a restaurant, what you should give is, you all you have to give is some examples for it to learn. So you just have to test saying that when does the restaurant open. So you have to tell that and say that restaurant is something like if then you have to identify the entities in that, and then you will tell it how to answer it as well, and then it will be able to train. You can train it and you can you actually test it also. It's very user friendly. I would prefer Lewis.
I hope that answers your question, Aditya. So the next one is from Bharat. And Bharat is asking, can you elaborate a little more on what you did as an intern at Microsoft when you were in third year?
When I was in third year, when I went to the internship program, exact project cannot be shared, but then I'll tell you what it is. So it is about optimizing a graph, an entire graph. So that's a huge graph of qualifications and certifications of. I was working in MS certifications team, and that's a huge graph, and I have to optimize and I have to build a recommendation system for it.
Okay. So Vaishnavi wants to know how NLP classifies proper nouns in a sentence.
Yeah. One thing is you can use the grammar of the language itself. So using grammar, it can understand what are the nouns in it. And second thing is you to feed in with a lot of data or corpus basically, which will help itself to understand what are nouns. These are two methods that I am aware of.
I hope that answers your question, Vaishnavi. So the next one is from Kranti. Kranti is asking, when you say you have worked in NLP at Microsoft, so did they expect you to have knowledge about NLP prior to starting work or no?
They definitely asked me if I'm comfortable with machine learning in first place. So I said that yes, am good with machine learning, and I've developed something at my college as well. And obviously, it was not like you need to have specific knowledge in NLP, because they know that you once they are hiring you, they know that you can learn it easily. So uh, there are seniors, there are mentors at Microsoft who helped me develop that skill, and that is how I carried forward with this project on NLP. They
All right.
didn't expect me. In short, they didn't expect me to have full knowledge on NLP.
Yes, sir. Okay, so the next one is from Sanika. Sanika wants to know if there's a way to convert a Python NLTK program or an algorithm to an app which can be used in Android or iOS.
Definitely. So what you can do is, you can again, the same thing have happens. So you have to again convert it into a Flask app, make it as an API. Say for example, if you want to run a piece of program, and you can just say slash program one, and you can have that program run and yield result for you. So whatever I have showed you over here, I am not sharing my screen. Okay, let me share it. Yeah. So over here, this king, woman, and all these things, right? So these things can be coming from an UI, and it can take this as an arguments, and you can basically convert this into a Flask application. And in that Flask application, again, you have to create a Docker file, and then you have to deploy it to a service, and or you can even deploy it to Heroku, and then you have to create a UI for front end, and then you can use that API for using that in your application. Even if it's Android app also, you can still make an API. So API will be constant. If you want web, you can use using web frameworks, you can hit that API. Otherwise, if you're using an Android application, you can still hit that same API to get the response. Yes.
Okay, sir, thank you. So the next one is from Shruti, and Shruti is asking what resume building tips would you give?
Okay. I would give you have skills which are truly of your which are truly in your ground, and then don't fake it in your resume and have a need resume. Don't just put something on a word and you don't call it as a resume. You have it, take some effort making it looking more materialistic maybe. And then if you have some skill, have some backing up with projects. Say for example, if you are good with React, build a portfolio with React, and then you deploy it, and then you share that link on your resume, so that it's saying that he has interest in link, he has interest and he has proficiency in React, and I can see that by looking at his website which is built using React. So that stands as a backing up. That backup is most important, because that is when the interviewer gets confidence that you're not faking on your resume, because your projects talks about your interests.
I hope that answers your question, Shruti. The next one is from Rishabh. Rishabh is asking, can you give us some examples of small projects that I can make for learning NLP?
Yeah, definitely start with chatbots, because you'll be very much surprised how cool it would be. Because I don't have that app right now to show you, but in my college, I developed an app which will help me organize events in my college. So it's about like what is the place, and where is that program going to be conducted in college? When does it start? Who are the organizers? Where do I register it? So I have just created an app which will use the Google's voice to text and text to voice recognition as well, and then it'll answer me the questions, and that will hit an API which I am deploying on Python online, and then it'll return me a response. So that chatbot application was a very good learning for myself, and I would suggest you to. And it didn't take more than for me to start from scratch till the end of it. It took around 10 days or 15 days, because we were working on a project basically, me and my friend. So we did that. So even if it takes a little long, go ahead and start learning how to deploy it. Like even there also I prepared like the same thing. So even if you don't want to learn about Docker, there are multiple online websites which will help you host Python as is. So you can just directly make your Docker application. Not instead of Docker application, you can make a Flask API and directly use that to deploy it. So that is one way of doing it. um, so start with chatbots. You'll build interest on NLP, and chatbot for anything for that matter, maybe to your college, or just want a buddy, or a reminder, a to-do list in that format. Otherwise, if you want, send me an email about it. Your chatbot will be able to send an email reminding you about a task, something like that. That would be good. You'll also learn a lot in that process.
Yes, sir, definitely. So the next one is from Neil, and Neil wants to know how can we get the context of a sentence?
Yeah, that's a huge problem that people are trying to solve. There could be different context for that example, but then it all depends on how you train your data. But context is something which is still actively in research work. I'm not exactly aware how that is being worked upon, so maybe I'm not good enough to answer that right now. If I have more information, I'll share with you guys. But that's a very good research topic which is right now going on with GPT, able to do it a lot, using a lot lump sums of data. That's how it is possible, but exactly how they are finding the context is still a mystery, to me at least.
Okay. So the next one is from Nikita, And Nikita is asking if you could show a small project that you have made.
I have it as an app actually. I have not I resetted my app actually. So yeah, I can share it. I can share the APK with you guys and you can have a look at it. I don't have it right now to show. Yes.
Okay. So the next one is from Sanket. And Sanket is asking, can you talk a little bit about voice recognition? Does that fall under NLP?
Yes, yes, definitely it comes under NLP. And voice recognition, how it works is once you talk about something, and basically, if you see an equalizer, say for example, I can show you an equalizer. This is Yeah. So this is an audio application that I am using to filter out noise. So if you see over here, I'm just telling you like these are different frequencies that are available in while I'm talking. As I speak, these are the different frequencies, and you can hear the change in noise. You know, if I am just opening the gates for everything, you can see a lot of noise behind me right now. So so these are different frequencies that are available, and if I just have to reduce some noise, I'll just put a gate upon it. So just as how I am using this different frequencies, whenever you talk something, say for example, you're talking. He is a good boy. So each of that word has its own frequency. Like this is just a normal band actually, but there are multiple bands, and every word might be having a particular set of frequencies at a certain levels. So that is how NLP works, and it says that whenever say for example I am talking to this mic, and this mic has a diaphragm in it, and it is converting that into the signal. So that signal will also vary upon the vibration in this diaphragm of this. So that is how NLP also understands that in that it will create a band of frequencies, and it will see that which set of frequencies are in which levels, and using that it will be able to tell which word you have spoken. And the reverse happens if you want to convert text to speech. So if this is the text, this has to be the frequencies, and it will vibrate it in the speaker. So in the speaker it will vibrate using that. Yes.
I hope that answers your question, Sanket. So the next one is from Adarsh. Adarsh wants to know if Google Assistant, Alexa, Siri, and Cortana employ the use of NLP or do they use machine learning?
Extensively. No, these two are not exactly totally distinct sets. So natural language processing and deep learning are extensively used in the arena of NLP, and that is what enables them truly to develop things like Alexa and Google Assistant.
All right. So the next one is from Anil. Anil is asking, can you talk a little bit more about the training phase of your NLP model? How big is the data set of big AIs like GPT-3?
Yeah, GPT has billions of parameters, and it's like scraping all the data of internet and feeding it to the model. And coming to the how the model is saved. So once you have trained something, it's basically if you see the maths behind it, it's a set of parameters which it uses, so that which can be reused. So basically, the output of training is a set of parameters, and in this pickle file, if you see what I have shown you earlier, it has created a pickle file out of the training that I have just ran on a small set of data which is in a size of kbs alone. But when it comes to GPT or BERT or some huge data sets, it's billions of parameters. And Lewis is also like that. So Lewis has actually at the time of the release, it was having the highest number of parameters, and then a lot happened after that as well. But this set of parameters at the end of your save, so basically it saves into a pickle file, and the next time instead of running the entire data, like training on the entire data, it will directly take the parameters from this file, which will avoid you to go through the training process and save some time there.
All right. So the next one is from Jay. And Jay is asking, is BERT or GPT-3 capable of process human conversations and to what extent?
Yeah, you can if you see the GPT 3s, the recent advancements in that arena, you can even tell that how what you want to do. So say for example, I want to create an logging application which needs username and password, and these are the some criteria. You just have to type text in it, and it'll create a UI in React, and it'll give you the component. So it is developed to such an extent. So they are obviously they should be doing very good in the Turing test, but the perfect Turing test is yet to come, I guess. Like the perfect model for it. I think GPT-3 is very close for it. Actually, the developers of Bird has even thought that like it's about to release Bird is about to be released in production, and that is when GPT-3 has come. So it's like they have made major advances, and before they deploy itself, another huge advancement has been made. So it's developed, and it's in large, like, the pace in which it evolves is just amazing.
Yes, sir. I hope that answers your question, Jay. We have an interesting question from Vivek. Vivek is asking, what other technologies have you worked on during your graduation except NLP?
Yeah, I have also worked upon RFID, which is radio frequency identification. So using which is RFID, like if you go to shops, you will see that there are tags attached to the clothes, so that if you are taking them out, you'll hear an alarm, right? So using that, I was as a part of a research, like I was a research scholar and not research, a student researcher at that. In my college there is a lab called as Amrita lab, which is Amrita multidimensional data analytics lab. Over there we work on different. I was majorly into the field of ambient sensing, which is understanding unknown facts using the sensor data from the place. So basically understanding your ambience, say we're saying maybe a ton of the heater, if the temperature is fine, that's the simplest one. But taking that intelligence to the next level, saying that this is the entry and exit, so detecting the people counting. So using RFID was something which I was doing, and also predicting the duration of a meeting. So say for example, if I and you are meeting, we are talking about something, how much time should the next person wait, so that he can go away and come back next time, like without waiting for us to complete. So that those are some of the projects. And also using the same RFID technology, I also developed an application which will tell me um if my professor is in her lab or not, and also some D&D modes and all I have developed for it. So that is when I understood more about Android, how the notifications work. And then I created an application for an appointment system. um, I have both this an appointment system which will also send out notifications to the teacher. I Let me see if I'll share the links with you at the end of this, or I'll just open it. Yeah. So that is for the research lab that I built, so that people can reserve MAM's timing. So that is where I learned about Android. And then I have created an application for, as I told you, that NLP application. Apart from NLP, when you say so, then I have created a web application using React and DLog Assistant recently, which will basically help you to understand what are the learnings that you have had, or using the Pomodoro timer. You can make it more effective. Basically, it's a time management tool. That is one project I worked upon. Yeah, pretty much. And there was some normal ones, like creating the final year project. I created something related to not final project. The before semester of that, we created a project which was related to how people can be assigned to projects. So for that, and then we also built an university management system, not the entirely, but a part of it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I was mostly into Bootstrap, React, and Angular. React recently. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So the next one is from Milind. And Milind wants to know the scope of NLP for Indian languages in the future.
Yeah, definitely, right? Like you see the Google Translate, the live translations, whatever Google is trying to do. Not just Google, a lot of others are also trying to do, even Bing search, even actually converting the entire page, page translations. That is also comes under NLP, because you're taking the entire data and you are replacing it with the text with other languages. So when it comes to making exclusively for India, definitely for Indian languages, there's a lot of scope, because Google Translate or Bing Translate, they're not up to the mark yet. but they're still improving. There's a lot of scope for it.
Yes, sir.
Majorly when you want the translation of the web pages to happen, that is where the majority of the NLP is being used, I believe.
Yes,
And
sir.
also that now the Google Assistant supports multiple regional languages as well. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I hope that answers your question, Milind. The next one is from Pooja, and Pooja is asking what exactly a pickle file is.
So coming into the details of pickle file is basically you to save those parameters that you have acquired post training. So after training, whatever are the parameters, the weights, if it's a neural network, it could be the weights. So it's not just for natural language processing. Say, take for example, if you're making a machine learning model and it's like a huge graph. If it's a neural network, it's a huge graph, right? So at that point, how many starting nodes are there? How many inner nodes are there? How many outputs are there? So all these things and how what are the parameters for each one of them. So all this information is being condensed and put into a file called as pickle file in pickle file format, and then you can directly load it. And those libraries which Python which you use in Python, those will be able to recreate that exact model using the pickle file.
So the next question is from Aditya. Aditya wants to incorporate NLTK in his Python project for a personal assistant like Google Assistant. So how can you do this?
Yeah, I guess I've answered that already, but then it doesn't change anything. Even if you want to stream something using this, or you want to start an application somewhere on your server, it's exactly the same procedure. It doesn't change much. So the whatever the simple approach I have shared with you, just create it, and you just have to I think it's Python anywhere. Yes, Python anywhere you can use directly hosted without you know actually trying Docker. If you don't want to use Docker, you can just write your application, make it Flask consumable, Flask API format, and then you can use Python anywhere to host it. And then you can use in your application, you can use that as an API.
I hope that answers your question, Aditya. So the next one is from Anurag. Anurag is asking, does Microsoft care about the grade you got in your course?
They just have a cutoff, and if you are good with the cutoff, then Microsoft doesn't care about anything else. So the cutoff for MIP, which is Microsoft Internship Program, is 8 CGPA. So if you are 8.01 and 9.99, it doesn't make a difference for Microsoft.
Okay, great. So we have one last question. It's from Anish, and Anish is asking, how much is speech data worth?
How is speech data work?
Yeah, speech.
So I think that was already answered, right, Ritu? So basically, the speech when you talk, the diaphragm in this microphone vibrates, and using that vibrations, the frequencies are transmitted in a digital format to your PC. So over there, depending upon the levels of different bands, that is how the speech recognition understand that this word has been spoken, and the reverse of it happens to text to speech, which is like it taking text and giving the output to speech, output as speech.
Okay, great. So I think we have covered many great questions. So thank you, sir, for answering them. So let's end this session on a positive note. Thank you, sir. It was a very informative session, and we hope that all of our viewers gain some knowledge from it. We appreciate you for taking out valuable time from your schedule to share your knowledge with us. Thank you, everyone. We hope you enjoyed it and gained some valuable insights about natural language processing. Thank you.
Yes, these are some links to join it. I am not sure if you received the link. I have sent to Karan for Discord link, but probably it's expired. Please replace it with the newer link. I sent to them on LinkedIn, and that's a wrap. Thanks, RSC.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay then. Yes. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You too.